There's a lot going on right now at Civic Plaza in Albuquerque, a Sunset Farmers Market on Wednesdays, ABQ Food Fridays, and of course the annual Summerfest, which takes place this weekend on Saturday, August 8th. But it's not just about fun in the plaza. Bringing people to the plaza is part of a broader effort to revitalize downtown Albuquerque. Our producer Sarah Gustavus sat down with two downtown ABQ Main Street board members to learn more.
David Silverman from Geltmore LLC, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Glad to be here.
Also, Tim Trujillo, you're an urban designer with Decker Parrish Sabatini. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
You are also both board members of Downtown ABQ Main Street. The mission of the organization is to foster downtown as a vibrant and attractive place for visitors and for residents here in Albuquerque. And today we're going to talk specifically about Civic Plaza and what's going on. David, I'm going to start with you. I've seen all these ads and announcements going out about food on the plaza for sale on Wednesdays, Food Fridays. That sounds like a lot of fun. What's that like?
It's been great so far. It's all kind of originated through a grant that's sponsored by the Project for Public Spaces through Southwest Airlines, of which it's been a community organizing project to come up with activities that the communities come up with that they'd like to see on the plaza, that our organization's been the conduit to implement all of those things. So it's been fun to see it from the start and now into implementation, and seeing thousands of people show up on the plaza has been really exciting.
So who are you working with to plan these events?
It's actually a partnership between Main Street and SMG, who's the operator of the convention center, and through the activities that were brainstormed amongst the community and fostered by Main Street, we've partnered with SMG to actually promote the events and put them on the plaza.
Tim, you live downtown. Have you gone to these events?
Absolutely, almost every Friday. We have the farmers market Wednesdays, and on Fridays there's some exciting music and food trucks, and there's actually a lot of people that show up to these things, and it's pretty fun. It's a good time.
Both of you are from Albuquerque, but you've lived outside the city. Do you feel like is this a new kind of hip thing that other cities do this? Portland, Seattle, different places. What does this mean to have this happening here in Albuquerque right now?
It's exciting. It's nice to see this civic engagement, this activity happening in the city. Before I'm not sure that Albuquerque really had that place and that activity that people were really drawn to a specific location in the city to really just hang out and socialize and really take advantage of what we have to offer. And downtown's a great place to hang out, especially Civic Plaza. There's just so much around there that creates that magnet that attracts people, and it's a good time.
It's not just all fun. It's part of a broader effort to increase economic development, specifically downtown. How are these events part of that?
It's really just engaging every segment of the community in the environment, in the downtown, whether it's the business community, whether it's the residences, the academic sector in UNM, and really engaging everybody to come together and enjoy the civic life, and so it's really a part of creating that place that businesses are drawn to, but also as residents and visitors, we're all drawn to the same kind of characteristics of a city.
David, there is the grant from Southwest Airlines is $200,000 for placemaking initiatives. What does that really mean?
This organization's come through and done this in other places, like in Detroit, for example, and many other places. But really, it's everything that you've seen. It's whether it's the awnings, the shade awnings, the tables and chairs, the programming. There's going to be an exciting food amenity coming soon. But really, it's about creating somewhere where people want to gather and come together as a community and spend time, in public space. People everywhere like to gather, and a good sign of a good community is when you actually see a true sign of vibrancy is when people come together in a public space to enjoy being outside and being together. And really, the placemaking effort is that simply, and it takes on a variety of different shapes. But when you're starting small, this is one example of starting small and coming together with some real simple things to bring people together.
We talk a lot about bringing in companies to New Mexico, attracting new people here who are going to do the innovative things or bring their business here. Do we have evidence that they're really looking at things like this in a downtown, that a downtown is vibrant and people are there and activities are happening?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's got to start small, and we've got a lot of challenges in our city and our state, but at the same time that brings a lot of opportunity. The opportunity that's there is that we have the great bones of a downtown with square blocks, a nice grid system, buildings that can be repurposed and and brought back alive with some investment that we need to create some policies to get there. But really, there's a story to tell. There's a story about how we're in a renaissance, about how we're trying to attract new talent, keep existing talent, grow existing businesses, and start new businesses. And we want downtown to become the center for that activity, and everywhere really up and down Central Avenue in what we foresee as the beginnings of an innovation corridor. So really, every little thing will build on itself, and our placemaking efforts will eventually, be that center for everyone for new business to grow and people to come and live and work and play.
Tim, your thoughts on that one, on attracting people, maybe people coming back who grew up in Albuquerque, or attracting new people, new businesses around a downtown, such as what you're working on now?
Certainly, I think there is evidence. I think there's a lot of cities that we've seen these movements where they're trying to improve their downtowns, because this is really a century of the city, and there's people are attracted to cities, whether it's young individuals, the millennials, whether it's the baby boomers. They really do want to live and work in these walkable environments, and every city, from Dallas to Wichita to Omaha. We're not just talking about Seattle, San Francisco, New York City anymore. We're really talking about every city in the country is really positioning themselves to become that livable place. And these are the things that attracted myself. I lived in a larger city before I came back, and it's these opportunities that really brought me back, and I think it's exciting.
People who don't spend a lot of time downtown, there might be some perceptions about safety or security. Do you think downtown's safe right now?
I do, and I think there's still a perception, from maybe 10 years ago that it's not safe. Before it's been an office park with no real residents and not a whole lot of life. And I think that over the past, let's say, 10 years, there's been a lot of improvement. There's people living down there now. There's businesses. There's different kinds of businesses that they're not just open during the lunch hours, but they're open into the evenings. It's kind of creating that pedestrian life that really helps to create that perception of safety that I think was lacking before. But I think that if people came back downtown, they would see a different character. They'd feel better about it.
And we have a grocery store coming.
We do have a grocery store coming. And I guess to address the safety question, there's always going to be bad apples anywhere you go. In reality, it's having more people in a place, the bad apples in a certain place where there's a lot of people are going to stand out a lot worse. And when there's not a lot of people, they have an ability to kind of take over. And so there's been a great effort to reformat how we populate downtown, and I think as it continues to grow, then people will see that growth, and misbehavior will start to subside, and there's been positive trends in that regard for the past 15 years, so it's definitely gotten better. But the grocery store is coming. It's going to open in April of 2016 along with 74 apartments in the same project called the Imperial Building at the corner of 2nd Street and Silver Avenue. The grocery store is going to be about 11,500 square feet, and we're going to have an additional about 10,000 square feet of retail space, restaurants, shops, and service-type businesses that will be on the ground floor of the project.
What's next for downtown, specifically for Civic Plaza?
I think it's just to continue to build upon what's been done already. There's this programming will continue, through the completion of the grant, and really, what's there, will hopefully stay, and that we continue to grow and fundraise to keep this effort going into the future, and have it carry over as kind of what people are used to versus something that's just temporary.
So the idea behind the placemaking grant is it's kind of a tactical urbanism approach. So the idea is that you bring in kind of this low, sort of cheap, fast approach. And so, we've purchased these tables and these umbrellas, and the idea is to kind of let's just activate it and let's test it. And so there's kind of been this programming that's occurred, and so now the idea is to test and see what's working, and then later on there's another iteration that'll come through, and we'll refine what we've done so far and start to bring in more permanent and larger installations. And the idea is just a continual refinement to make it kind of a little bit more useful and to continue to engage the community.
And so where does the money come? Would we need another grant from Southwest or another major organization, or would that start to come from the local business community? We hope that it will start to come from the local business community. So far it is from the grant. It's a multi-year grant, so we'll continue this process over the course of that grant. So we're about, I guess, 6 to 8 months into the grant at this point. So we do have at least another year left on this, but hopefully the community will become engaged and we can continue to grow this excitement, and really start to bring in these more permanent installations. And this weekend is also Summerfest on the plaza, Saturday the 8th.
Yeah, there's going to be the city's doing this event, and it's going to be exciting. They're going to have live music and vendors, and I think they've attracted last year. There's probably 20,000 people downtown, so it should be quite a scene.
It's really a great opportunity for people who haven't seen all the great improvements that have come to Civic Plaza in the past several months to come down and check it out and really give downtown a fresh look, because there's been a lot of people, the city and lots of different organizations and people from the private sector putting a lot of time in to making it better, and this is a great opportunity for people who may live elsewhere to come down and check it out.
Thank you both for joining us this week.
Thanks
for having us.